Welcome back to my channel, sports fans. Okay, let's get into this one right here. Well, let's go ahead and talk about this one right here. You have Bill Cartwright on this guy's channel talking Michael Jordan, but don't know what the hell he's talking about. You know, I think this channel is called Mic Check. And listen, we just got to talk about some things with this guy's channel. It's no hate. I don't know about this guy's channel, but you know, my big thing is what I want to talk about on this video is all NBA, you know, of Michael Jordan when he was 39 and turning 40 in 2002, 2003, and LeBron James, 39, 40 years old this past season, 24, 25, right? We want to talk about this and see who made all NBA first team and who made all NBA first team defensive. And we'll even go to the second teams just to show you who was the best 10 players in the league. But, you know, the first, who's the best 5 players, excuse me. That's what we want to know, really. Who's the best 5 players in the league when Michael Jordan was 39, 40, and when LeBron James was 39, 40, okay? It's going to be, it just ain't the same, folks. So let's talk about this Bill Cartwright thing real quick. And look, I don't really know about this guy's channel. I kind of seen it one time, and he's, you know, interviewing ex-NBA players. I think Katino Mobley was on there. Bill Cartwright was on there this time. I don't know. They're just like lower tier. They're just like lower tier players. They're not like, you know, superstars or nothing like that. But I don't really know how the hell he got to interview, you know, NBA players. It was some other ones too. But I really don't know how he got that status to where he was able to interview NBA players. He only has like I think like 4,000 subs, and he's got, I think he don't have a lot of videos. It's not a lot. It might be like 400 if that. I don't even think it's 400. It's not a lot of videos. And hey, much props to him if he can get these guys on there. But I just wonder how in the hell he got these guys on here. And like, who does he know? What kind of connections does he have and stuff like that? He looks like a Spanish guy, maybe Mexican. He looks like, you know, California Mexican or something like that. And I don't know if he just has money or something like that to where, you know, he can pay these guys. And, you know, what we got to understand is this is the new internet, folks, where AI deepfake, right? So these guys might not even be real. We don't even live in a real world when we look at social media no more. It's not a real world. It's a fake world in social media. That's all the hell it is. It's a fake world. As far as those people actually being there, they're not really there. I've looked at people's channels from a year ago, and they look like totally different people. I'm like, how in the hell do you look different from? I mean, that different from a year ago? It's weird. Like, are these people even real? But we already know that we got AI now. And it's deep fake, so we don't even know if these guys are just paying these players to use their avatar to talk, and that's it. And most of these content creators are just AI. It's funny because when you watch, who is it? I can't even remember. I haven't said this guy's name for a long time. Dreamers Pro. They was clowning this dude one day. I think he was on a live or something, because I heard you can do, you know, AI live. You can do that deep fake too. You can do AI live now. And they was clowning him because the screen kept glitching and glitching and glitching and glitching, and stuff like that. And yeah, he doing AI. He does AI videos in general. That's what he does. But let's get in. You guys already know I'll be wandering off all over the place. But anyways, this guy's channel, Mic Check, I think it's called, and he wears sunglasses all the time indoors. So that kind of gives it away. It might be an AI video, right? I hear sports and fitness brands say all the time, why the hell are these guys wearing sunglasses inside all the time? We were talking about like Kevin Garnett and these type of dudes, and Paul Pierce, is because it's AI. It's AI. It's funny because I won't even go into that story, but I was just going to tell a story about how they replaced Paul Pierce a long time ago on ESPN, and then he popped back up looking like a whole different Paul Pierce or whatever like that. But when I say different, I don't say totally different. You guys got to understand when I say different, what somebody used to look like, you know. Anyways, we won't get into that. A lot of people are just so far asleep They'll never understand these things. But he starts interviewing Bill Cartwright, and he was just talking about normal NBA stuff, his career, whatever. And then he goes, I got to ask you, MJ or LeBron James? And, he was shocked because he didn't definitively say MJ. He really didn't say MJ, period. He just said that they played two different positions. And I think the first thing he said was, I never played against LeBron James. Oh boy, you can hear those Klutch sports checks cashing. You can just hear it because this guy, he goes on to say they're both beasts. It's like weird. You just wouldn't expect somebody 70 years old to be talking the way Bill Cartwright talks. And he just didn't talk like a 70-year-old man. He was kind of trying to be with a younger lingo and stuff like that. You just wouldn't expect it from Bill Cartwright. I don't really know how he really talks. I remember how he talked a little bit. I don't know, man, but this Bill Cartwright that day on this guy's channel, Mic Check, he was really, trying to put on a performance rather than, well, not a performance. He was trying to put on a facade. He was trying to, turn it, act like a character, per se. You know what I'm saying? He was trying to, and that's what people got to do, man. He's pretty much on TV now. Social media is the new TV, right? So you got to put on an act. You got to do all these things, right? No, nobody is real. You got to put on have a certain personality. But I don't think he was really having a certain personality. I think he was trying to, I don't know. He was basically trying to act like somebody he wasn't. You just want to act a 70-year-old act like that. Maybe he does. I don't know, man. But he wasn't acting too manly to me. And he damn sure wasn't acting like an old grumpy man. I don't know, man. I'm just saying this guy, he was acting real weird. But he goes on to talk about that he just kept saying this, that he never played against both of them, and that they played two different positions. And I'm like, what? No ish. And then he goes on to, kind of talk about how Bill Russell, he's a big guy. Bill Cartwright is a big man type of player. You know what I'm saying? Because he is a big man. He likes big men. So he was saying like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is 1, and who did he say? He said Bill Russell was 2 in his book, and Wilt Chamberlain was number 3. And he goes on to say that this same bullish that, okay, it can make sense, but it doesn't make sense to be the GOAT. He talks about how Kareem Abdul-Jabbar won at every level. You won at every level? Well, that's great. But the fact is, if we all remember, we don't know nothing about high school. Let's just say in high school, right? High school, let's just break this down. In the pros, you're playing against the best of the college players, right? You're playing the best of the college players, right? The best. Okay? In college, you're playing against the best of the high school players. Let me give it to you one more time. In the NBA, you're playing against the best of the college players. The ones that got drafted. They were the best in college. They weren't no bench warmers or nothing crazy like that. These dudes were all this, all that, all American, all blah, blah, blah. Right? So they went to the NBA. So, and we know about college, you're playing against the best of the high school players from around the nation. Okay? So, in high school, you're doing what? Who you playing against? No offense. You're not playing against the best of the high school players from across the nation. You're just not. You might be lucky to play state, right? Once you if you beat everybody in your state, you might play the best in your state. It's not the same, folks. It's not the same. Most of those guys on those college teams, high school teams, they will like 99% of them will never even go to college. So you're just playing the best of the guys who tried out. So okay, yeah, he won in high school. Great for him. Then he won in college. Great for him. He did go to a college that was the greatest college ever, and already had all these great players coming to UCLA. You know, I think he came behind. I think he came behind Bill Walton, if I ain't mistaken. Yeah, I think he came behind Bill Walton and stuff like that. But, you know, what does that have to do with being the GOAT? So when we look at it, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, yes, I have him third greatest player of all time. But we got to remember, too, 4 of those championships, he was not the lead dog. Let me say this. Because championships aside, let's just say this. On those championship runs in the 80s with the Lakers, you had Magic Johnson win 2 MVPs, 3 finals MVPs, and you had Worthy win 1 finals MVP. So that's just in those championship runs in the 80s, folks. I mean, like, no, Kareem is not number 1 of all time. No, I can't do it. And you know, it's just not about championships, because we can put championships to the side. And I'm looking at the fact that, you know, Magic Johnson was able to win 3 MVPs on his watch. 3 MVPs on Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's watch. I mean, that's insane right there. 3 MVPs and 2 finals MVPs, and become the greatest point guard of all time on Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's watch. I mean, what? And beat the Celtics 2 times? No, you can't be number 1. Okay, no knock against him and things like that, but you can't be number 1. Not in my eyes. And then he goes on to talk about, you know, Bill Russell. How he won in high school. Now we're talking about high school, right? High school competition. So he said he won in high school. He won the Olympics. No, he said he won in high school. Then he won in college, and then he won in the Olympics. And then, you know, he kind of like downplayed Michael Jordan's dynasty. He said that's a dynasty. He's talking about what Michael Jordan did with his 3-peats. We call those dynasties. What Bill Russell did, those were dynasties. Wow. And I'm not laughing at the fact what Bill Russell did, because what Bill Russell did was incredible. Okay? But let's be real. All Bill Russell had to do was rebound and play defense. You know, to me, that's almost like a modern day Dennis Rodman, if you think about it. Because he wasn't nothing but like 6'9". Probably a greater athlete than Dennis Rodman. And that's crazy, because Dennis Rodman could guard all 5 positions. And Bill Russell could too. But let's take into account that he was like the 5th option as far as scoring on his team every single season, right? So I'm not trying to downplay Bill Russell. I mean, if he wants to put them at number 1, that's fine. But let's also think about, and I hate to say it, but they weren't going against the same athletic competition. Let's be real. Bill Russell weren't going against the same athletic competition. And I'm not going to try to say Bill Russell won't be all-time great in the 90s. Yes, he would. But nah, they weren't going against the same level of athletic Bill Russell and Wilt Chamberlain was so much more athletic than those guys back then. It was crazy. Even the black guys, they were so much more athletic. It wasn't even more than Jordan was against the guys in the 80s. Bill Russell and Wilt Chamberlain was that much more athletic. And Oscar Robertson. It was just like night and day. But they will be, you know, all-time great in any era. But I'm just saying, man, Bill Russell, he can't be number 1 to me. He just can't. They weren't even saying Bill Russell was the greatest of all time back then. I think he said Bill Russell was the only player to win MVPs as a defensive player. Well, I mean, that's great. That's great. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. I can't knock that. I mean, that is true. But, and then he goes on to talk about Wilt Chamberlain. We know about Wilt Chamberlain. And I'm not trying to hear to knock Wilt Chamberlain, none of these guys. But the fact is, they still didn't have greater careers than Michael Jordan. They just didn't. They just did it, folks. And Michael Jordan, he was winning MVP while he was on All NBA, while he was on All NBA defensive, while he was winning Finals MVP, while he was winning score titles, while he was winning steals titles, while he was winning 60 games, while he was winning back-to-back championships, while he was winning a three-peat. While his best player was barely breaking down 20 points a game in the damn finals and in the playoffs. I mean, give me a break. His team was not all that, right? When you look at Wilt Chamberlain's teams, when you look at Bill Russell's teams, no. Michael Jordan didn't have that kind of team. When you look at Magic's teams, when you look at Kareem's teams, it's not even close. When you look at Bird's teams, it's not even close. It's not. While Michael Jordan was winning Defensive Player of the Year, I mean, we've already went over these type of things. While playing 82 games, he was doing all this stuff simultaneously and winning championships, scoring titles, all NBA defense, playing 60 games, winning scoring titles, doing all this stuff. You know what I'm saying? He was doing all this stuff in one season. Playing all 82 games and stuff like that. So it's just like, man, it's like, you don't want to knock none of these guys who did great things back in the day. He took the game global. And I'm not trying to knock Bill Russell and them for what they did for the game, because they did great things for the game. But no, Michael Jordan changed the game, right? While he was playing, it was a big man game. You couldn't win without a big man or big men. You couldn't win. Michael Jordan did. And each time Michael Jordan retired, guess what? Big men won. Okay? Every single time Michael Jordan retired, big men won. Even when Michael Jordan came back. Remember when Michael Jordan came back and playing for the Wizards? Big men were winning. Old Michael Jordan, with the busted up knees and stuff like that, with no team, right? Shaq and them was winning. It was, there was some anomalies as far as, the Detroit Pistons not really having a what you would call a conventional big man. They did have Ben Wallace. He wasn't like a 7-footer or nothing like that. I think he was like 6'9". He was putting it on Shaq, but you had a great defensive, big man with Ben Wallace. But whatever, man. I just, what it comes down to, he can say what he wants to say, but these stories that they give for being all-time great, their all-time great player, doesn't add up. They're just saying stuff with these type of guys. To me, Wilt Chamberlain can't be number one. He just can't be number one. And I'm not trying to knock Wilt. I got him as number two. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't always, go by championships. I go by on-court play and things like that. So, a lot of things. So, let's talk about these all-NBA teams, all-NBA defensive. When Michael Jordan's last year, 39-40. LeBron James last year, 39-40. Okay, let's look at this right here. So we'll go ahead and do this year, right? So we're going to go on all NBA first team this season. And I mean, they're pretty decent names. I'm not trying to say they're not, pretty decent players. But of course, again, this is when LeBron James was 39, 40 years old, right? Versus when Michael Jordan was 39, 40 years old. So this year, first team All NBA, Giannis. If you ever noticed, back in the day, they had position. They had forward, center, guard. Now on All NBA, there's no position, right? This is basically, they've changed all this for LeBron James, right? That's why we always say today's game is positionless. These guys possess no positional skills. We've always, up until, 215 at least, you have positional basketball. So each player at that position had to possess certain positional skills. Not today. So basically, the league changed basketball for LeBron James to play longer, right? And for other things, right? So anyway, because when I go over, 2002, 2003, I know who is at what position because they have the positions on there. And we know a little bit what they play, but they're not getting put on here based on position. So you have Giannis, SGA, you have Joker, you have Donovan Mitchell and Jason Tatum. These guys are on the first team, folks. Let me say it again. First team, Giannis, SGA, Joker, Donovan Mitchell, Jason Tatum. Pretty good. Pretty good. So, but ask yourself, in 2002, 2003, when Michael Jordan was 39, 40 years old, his last year, could any of those guys replace these guys on first team? Okay. 2002, 2003, Tim Duncan for the Spurs, Kevin Garnett for Minnesota Timberwolves, Shaquille O'Neal for the Lakers, Kobe Bryant for the Lakers, Tracy McGrady in his prime for the Orlando Magic. Yikes. So let's kind of like, try to get into this. At the forward position, Tim Duncan, I'm trying to play we already know that Giannis wouldn't be able to match up to that. I guess your other forward in here will be Jason Tatum. He couldn't match up to Kevin Garnett. The center position will be Shaq. Joker ain't matching up to that, folks. He just ain't doing it. Shaq would abuse the shit out of him. Kobe Bryant at guard? No, Donovan Mitchell or SGA won't be able to match up to that, folks. And Tracy McGrady at guard? No, Donovan Mitchell or SGA wouldn't be able to match up to that. No. So this is the level of competition Michael Jordan was going up against. The level of competition Michael Jordan was going up against. First team, Tim Duncan, Kevin Garnett, Shaquille O'Neal, Kobe Bryant, and Tracy McGrady. Those were the top 5 players in the league. Top 5 players for LeBron James. Again, Giannis, SGA, Joker, Donovan Mitchell, and Jason Tatum. Not too shabby, but not the same. And you got to remember, these guys, they were a little bit younger too in 2002, 2003 versus these guys right here in 2004, 2005. They're not as young as these guys that's up here. I think Shaq might be the oldest guy in here, but I think he's really no older than, Joker. Let's look at the second team. 2002, 2003. Dirk Nowitzki, well, we'll go to, now, 24-25. You got Jalen Brunson, Steph Curry, Anthony Edwards, 3 guards, folks. LeBron James, and Evan Mobley. That's your second team. 3 guards. Jalen Brunson, and this is what's so crazy. I told you they changed all this for LeBron James. Jalen Brunson, Steph Curry, Anthony Edwards, LeBron James, and Evan Mobley. Okay. Second team for the 2003. Dirk Nowitzki, Chris Webber, Ben Wallace, Allen Iverson, and Jason Kidd. Wow. So let's look at this. At forward, you got Dirk Nowitzki. Who could replace Dirk Nowitzki on here? Who will be the forward, the small forward? I guess LeBron James? No. This is prime Dirk Nowitzki. This isn't prime LeBron James. This is old LeBron James. At 39-40, this is prime Dirk Nowitzki. Second, Chris Webber would destroy Evan Mobley. Like, you don't even have a center to even compare to. But as far as a player at this point, this is prime Ben Wallace. Prime Ben Wallace. Ain't none of these guys better than Ben Wallace. Not Jalen Brunson right now. Steph Curry's too old. I mean, I guess you could say Anthony Edwards. If we're getting out of matchup, yeah. Whatever. And then you have Allen Iverson. You think Jalen Brunson or Steph Curry or Anthony Edwards is better than prime Allen Iverson? At this point, I'm just saying as far as age. Maybe Steph Curry, all-time great, yes. But we're talking about Michael Jordan at 39, 40 years old. Curry shouldn't even be on the second team, bro. Neither should LeBron James. These are prime, but Jason Kidd? The prime Jason Kidd. I'm just saying, man. This is who Michael Jordan was going against, prime competition. A lot of these guys are older, and, a lot of these guys aren't better than the guys Michael Jordan was going against. Now, let's look at the defensive team, 2002, 2003, 2024. Let's look at the LeBron James 25 team, all NBA defensive. Dyson Daniels, Lou Dort, Draymond Green, Evan Mobley, and Amen Thompson. What? Huh? Let's go to 2003, all NBA defensive first team. Doug Christie, Kobe Bryant, Kevin Garnett, Ben Wallace, and Tim Duncan. Bro, that 25 team, we don't even know who the hell these guys are except for Draymond Green, really. Come on, man. These are all-time great defenders on 2003. And that's why I keep trying to tell you guys. When we say Anthony Edwards, Luka Doncic, Joker, even LeBron James to an extent, Kevin Durant, James Harden, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, all these big time stars who never made an All-NBA defensive team. Let's see who's on the list from stopping them from making an All-NBA defensive team. And the guys I just read off for 24-25 don't qualify for all-time great defenders. I guess you can say Draymond Green because he's on there every damn year. But the rest of these guys, no. When you saw who was stopping Magic or Bird or Charles Barkley or some of these, Clyde Drexler, you would say, well, let me go see who stopped them from making it. And you'd be, oh, okay. I see why they didn't make it, because it was all, there's no excuse why they didn't make it, but I'm just saying the guys who beat them out were all-time greats. That would be the only excuse. The second team, I can't even pronounce his name. To Monty, Camera, Rudy Gobert, Jaren Jackson Jr., Jalen Williams, and Zubac. I'm not even going to laugh. That's the second team for 25. I'm just going to continue to go on to the second team for 2003. Second team, Ron Artest, Bruce Bowen, Shaquille O'Neal, Eric Snow, and Jason Kidd. Wow. The only weak link I see in there is Eric Snow. And not that Eric Snow wasn't a good defender. That was his job. But I don't consider, Eric Snow an all-time great. Let's see how many times he made All-NBA. Defensive. That one time. That's all he has on his whole damn resume. He made it that one time. Yep. He made it that one time. But he was a good defender. I won't say he was great. He was good. That's what he was known for, was defense. That's what he was put on the floor to be a defensive player, and stuff like that. But like I said, that second team, that's the only knock I would say. Ron Artest, what? Bruce Bowen, forget about it. Shaq, Eric Snow, and Jason Kidd. Compared to these dudes, to Monty, Camera, I don't know how to pronounce his name, Rudy Gobert, Jaren Jackson Jr., Jalen Williams, and I'm not trying to knock these guys, but they're not on the level of these guys. They're just not. And like I said, folks, this is the level of competition Michael Jordan was going against. He was going against guys in their prime, all-time greats in their prime that frankly ain't better than LeBron James era All-NBA guys. They're just not. To me, there's no comparison. There's no comparison. A lot of those guys that was on All-NBA first team, and let me check real quick. A lot of them that was on All-NBA, they were on All-NBA defensive. They were on all NBA defensive. So you got I remember Tim Duncan. So Kobe Bryant, Kevin Garnett, and hold on. So Kobe Bryant, Kevin Garnett, Tim Duncan. I think you got Shaq and Jason Kidd. All these guys were on all NBA, and they were on all NBA defensive. That's crazy. It were on all NBA defensive. Wow. Yeah. And for the LeBron James era, none of these guys were on all NBA defense. Not even Giannis. Not even Giannis was on all NBA defensive this year. Nope. None of these guys that's on all NBA in the LeBron James era were on all NBA defensive. It's a joke, folks. I just sometimes you just want to laugh, man. It's not the same level of competition. Never has, never will be, in things like that. I don't even know why they even try to compare these eras. These guys would, literally stomp out. To me, they would run amok. It would be like those dream teams just beating up on international competition. That's what they did. They beat up on international competition. And what you have now is you basically in the NBA, you got international competition. The NBA try to change, the game so much and get these international players over here because NBA fans, American fans, they were fed up with this trash product that they brought out. You see how the NBA now is catering to international players as far as, they're so check this out. This is why these players ain't playing all these games, because now they're going over to Euro leagues and playing. So you're risking injury to your body to play in the Euro League in the off season. It don't make any sense, folks. But it's all racket. A lot of stuff you're just gonna have to come to grips with, because ain't nobody gonna tell you the truth. The way the world works, nobody's gonna tell you the truth, and that's why the world is ran the way it's ran, because people have to scare people. I wouldn't call them dumb, but let's just call them scared. They need to be told everything. And the fact is, these NBA players today ain't making this kind of money. It's all just bullish. They're not. How you gonna make this kind of money when nobody even watches this trash? These guys got to go to Europe just to make money, folks. That's why they're going to play internationally. And these teams, the owners ain't get mad. The GMs ain't get mad that these guys could get hurt. They're going to load manage because they're tired, because they've been playing in the off season. But the reason why the owners, the teams ain't going to get mad is because these guys, this is the only way they're going to be able to make some money. They're not making this kind of money. They're just telling you these guys are making this kind of money to keep keep a, what do you call it? To keep a value on the league, folks. They need to keep a value on the league. Remember, NBA players are products, right? So, if you talk about, business and you're selling product, it's kind of like you might get it wholesale, boom, bam, boom, right? But you're not going to sell it to the customer at the same price, so you're not going to make no money. So, to me, I think this is what's going on too. They're telling you guys it's worth this much, so they can sell their tickets, their merch, everything else for a certain price. So they're telling you these guys make this kind of money, right? So they can charge the consumer, XYZ. That's all it is. Because when these guys retire, these guys, they got to go coach. They got to go, they play in other leagues. That's what's so crazy. These guys supposedly make tens of millions. And it's just not, this era. We could look at other eras, the 2000s, the 90s. These guys have to go play in China. I'm talking about, we done saw all-time great players supposedly make tens of millions of dollars. And then when they either lead the league or, whatever, they got to go play in like some Mexican league, some Chinese league. And, these guys podcast today, everything. We were watching a video the other day, and I think it was First Take, and Stephen A. Smith was talking about how LeBron James just messed up the game because he kept saying he don't care about winning. If they don't win this year, it's not a failure. I think that was after he lost to the Mavericks, right? So he started making a mockery out of winning, because he actually lost with a super team. So he started making a mockery out of winning. And Stephen A. Smith was saying that, he cares more about promoting his brand. And he showed his era guys, like the Dwayne Wades, Carmelo Anthony, the Bosches, and all these type of guys. It's okay if you lose. Who cares? Who cares about winning? We can still promote our brand off of who we are. Stephen A. Smith went the hell off. He said, LeBron James, he's the most dangerous man because, this is how he looks at basketball now. And this is how he has got, his era guys to look at basketball. Who cares about winning? Because you got to remember, up until that point, he got stomped out in the Olympics without Kobe Bryant. He got stomped out in the FIBA without Kobe Bryant. He got, he got stomped out in the finals in 2007. He got stomped out in 2009, 2010 when he was supposed to win. He got stomped out in 2011 with a super team. So at that point, what was they pushing this guy for? He was, he became an ultimate loser when it was time to win at the highest level. When he was able to get a team to go to the finals, he got stomped out. Or, when he was supposed to go to the finals, he got stomped out. So what I'm trying to say is these guys make more on their brand to me than they do on contracts. Right? So this is why, the LeBron James brand now is making a mockery out of winning. You see his new commercial, right? It's a mockery. Made a video yesterday about his commercial. If I can't win, if I can't be one of the best, I'll make a mockery out of it, right? I'll make a mockery. And I was talking about it coincides with everything that's going on, pop culture and society in general. If you look at, music for a long time now, I would say since the 2010s, it's been a mockery of how great music used to be, especially music in the 2020s. It's a mockery. If you look at how, politics used to be, even though Republicans were more conservative than Democrats were still conservative. Politics used to be conservative. Now it's all about the lingo and the slang and the cool talk and all that stuff on, them coming out saying stupid stuff all the time. Trump, Biden was saying stupid stuff, and it's a mockery. Everything is just a mockery of what it used to be. You know what I'm saying? I talk about content creators used to have to, really get your subs and get your views based on your content. Not no more. You just buy, views, you buy subs. So it's a mockery. You have AI now, so you don't have to be, a great content creator. So now it's a mockery of what used to. Everything is just a mockery, folks. Right? We don't have unions no more. We have children and women from Central America building the United States. So they're charging you all this money for this house. They're charging you all this money for this house. And guess what? You got women and children building your house, folks. This is a joke. You don't have great craftsmanship. You just have all these illegal people putting these houses together and putting these commercial buildings together like slop. Because they got to get to the next house, the next project, because they're not getting paid no insurance, no overtime, no workman's comp, nothing like that. So everything is just getting put together slop, right? Slop. There's no craftsmanship. There's no skill work or nothing like that. It's just slop. And, now that, machines make everything, and prefabricate everything, all they do is put nails and stuff. They don't really do any hard work. All they do is use, nail guns and skill saws, and they're not really doing hard work per se. As far as physical work, everything is a mockery now. It's just a mockery. So it just coincides with the LeBron James era in his commercial. In his career, everything has been a mockery of these all-time greats who had to do it right to get, that kind of all-time great status and get to where they were, right? We saw just now the first team All-NBA in the first team All-NBA defensive. Well, both teams. It's just a mockery for them guys to say that these guys today are better than those guys in the past. It's just crazy. You just wouldn't even think that they would. Let me get off of here. You guys tell me what you think, man.